Join us on Red Army TV. Oh, what are you filming me for? I'm on the hot seat tonight. Hi there, welcome to Red Army TV. In a week that sees the Boro win the last home game of the season convincingly, and that draw down at Pride Park. Have we got our tour back in it? It's got two great guests on the sofa. We've got Mr. Ben Lamb from Teesside Uni. Ben, welcome. And Mr. Leo Joseph from Advertising. Leo, the old Cockney Boro fan. How are you, mate?
I'm good. I've hopped all the way from London just to be on the couch today.
Great. We've got loads to talk about. Obviously, Reading at home, last home game of the season. Ben, it didn't start off well, goal-wise, but was probably one of the best goals we've seen from an opposing side against the Boro at home.
Yeah, I think so. Probably the best one we've seen since Silva when he was at Cardiff, pulled an absolute screamer out of the bag. And it's at that moment in the game where you just think, oh God, has this got defeat written all over it if they're going to pull things out like that? But it was great to claw it back. It's a great way to finish the season. It
was a great goal, and we'll come on to maybe Mikel could have done a little bit better.
Well, at the same time, that's the only way that you're going to beat Randolph this season, isn't it? With a worldie like that.
This lad, Danny Loader, 17 years old. What a way to score your first pro goal.
Not bad.
Leo.
Not bad. It's not a bad way of scoring, especially against the Boro. You're going to remember a goal against the Boro for the rest of your life, aren't you? But I thought, watching it back, because I was in London at the time, watching it back, I thought, I'm there on my phone getting the updates, and I'm like, it's happening again.
Oh.
And I can already hear the Riverside atmosphere going. The size from the
coming on the atmosphere, and I mentioned last week that the atmosphere last couple of home games have sort of been a little bit better, around the ground. The best atmosphere was probably Leeds at home. It was a really great atmosphere, but I don't know whether it was just because it was the last game of the season, Ben, or thinking if we win this, we're a bit closer. We've always got that big word, couple of words, playoffs on our mind all the time. But did you think the atmosphere, did you think the crowd played their part as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I think without that atmosphere, perhaps we would have just capitulated and bowed out with a draw, maybe even a loss. I think there was an element. There was almost like a feeling of, well, this is the last home game. Let's make a great go of it, like you often get in this league. So it was great to see.
And it's great to see, obviously, Lewis Wing coming back, Leo, and not only getting the goal, which I'm sure we'll come on to, but what does he bring to the team?
For me, he's the only central midfielder in a team of central midfielders who actually goes forward with the ball. And he's always looking to go forward. He's got an eye for goal, which is wonderful, which we've seen a lot this season. And every other midfielder we've got is so defensive-minded. You see Lewis Wing on the ball and you're excited, you get out your seat because you know that we're actually going to go forward with it. We're not just going to pass it round the back and play in front of our own defenders. For me, he's the catalyst that we were missing for so long. I think we could play him at number 10 and be quite happy with next season, just him and maybe Ashley Fletcher.
I'll tell you what, mate, for a Southerner, you talk some sense.
Oh, God.
Ben, staying with Lewis Wing, it was a total shock to us all that he was going to be coming back, and obviously we threw him straight back in there. Is it naivety, what Leo's talking about there? We've spoken many times about Lewis Wing, but is it the fact that he's a little bit naive, obviously coming from Northern League football to being a pro footballer? Is it a bit naivety what excites us fans?
I wouldn't necessarily call it naivety. I think we've got a player there who's playing for the shirt, and I think because of where he's come from and how he's developed, he's, as you say, a Northern League player. I think every second on the pitch to him matters, and I'd rather see a player go for a 50-50 chance on goal and miss than just sort of nervously pass it around the box or pass back, as we often see with most of our midfield players. So I'm all for it, really. There was, I think Pulis was very keen not to overdo it at the start, but now we're actually relying on him. It seems like. So.
Yeah, like Leo said, he seems to be a catalyst, isn't he, for that team to drive
It's
us
no
forward.
coincidence that we lost 6 games on the bounce when he wasn't really in the team. You know?
Bear in mind, we've got a Premier League midfielder in Besic on loan to us.
Oh yeah.
And in my opinion, and football's all about opinion, he's head and shoulders above.
Oh God! Well, I think the naivety is a good thing. I think he's not scared at all. Whenever he's on the ball, he just wants to play football and do it properly. And there's, I think, it's something that we're actually missing in our team is a little bit of naivety, a little bit of youth and ruthlessness, where they really want to fight for it. And I think you saw that a bit with Tavernier at the start of the season, and with Wing, you're seeing it in bundles.
Well, I mean, you talk about youth and driving forward. We look at the two teams, what have actually gone up automatically in the Championship in Norwich and Sheffield. They've both used youth, they've both tried to play attacking football, and it's both paid off dividends for them. One player, Ben, I just want to mention as well, not just for the Reading game, but the last couple of games, is Johnny Howson. He made a comment this week about playing as a wing-back and basically said, like, he loves it. It's his newfound love to play there, to get forward. How important has Johnny Howson been to this crop of players this season as well?
Really important. I think he has the professionalism, the experience, the calmness to help carry the team sometimes. I think because he's, as the Gazette often calls him, Mr. Reliable, and he's perhaps not the most technically gifted, or he can't flourish with the ball as Lewis Wing has. He often gets, he doesn't get the limelight as such, but he's definitely a key aspect, a key member of the spine of the team. And I think if he was to go, not that I don't think he would, I think you would see even more goals being leaked, us losing the ball a lot more in midfield. So he is very important. And
another player I want to chat about, Leo, as well, and we tend to seem to be speaking to him every week about is Mikel. Other than probably the mistake for the goal, which I thought the young lad got past him rather easily.
Yeah.
Let's take nothing away from the goal. He still had to put it in that top right-hand corner. But I thought he got past Mikel rather easily. Other than that, I don't think I can
you can't fault him, can you? You can't fault him. I mean, if there's one player that can play in his slippers in the Championship, it's John Obi Mikel. He's a Rolls Royce of a player. You just leave him there and he'll do his job. Everything that I've seen from him has just been wonderful, because you sort of go, okay, you've gone to China, you've not really had an appetite for football, and what I like about him is he's given up that paycheck, he's given up that sort of massive amount of money because he still wants to do this, he still wants to play football, and you can see it in what he's doing. He's gone to a team that's not going straight up, let's face it, at the moment, and he's fighting for his position. He's got a fight with Clayton, who was a starter for most of the season. He's got all these other Besic. And he's come in and he's looking beautiful. Whenever he's on the ball, you see his passes, they're effortless and they go all the way across the field. The goal where he passes it all the way across to Howson, it's 3 touches. Howson gets it, crosses it in the back of the net. But
we're talking about the Sombalonga goal, aren't we, a couple of weeks ago?
Just.
Yeah. The ball was fantastic.
It's different class.
Yeah.
Like, you don't see Clayton doing them.
No. I mean, look, we're going to talk about the playoffs a bit later on and things like that. But I mean, whether we get into the playoffs or whether we just fall short, he's obviously a player that fans would love to keep in Mikel. Yeah. I don't necessarily, because he's come basically on a free, I don't think his wages would come under the fair play because there's been no sort of fee involved. Yeah. Would you like to see him stay, Ben? And do you think he would still have the appetite to stay and play another season in the Championship, or do you think he'd want to be up and around the Premier League?
Oh God, I'd love to have him to stay. I think anyone who wouldn't want him to stay would be barking mad. I mean, as you said, he just has that. He has such class. It's almost like he works so hard, but it looks like he's not even breaking a sweat. He's just so graceful. And again, when he was made captain, that was when we started our winning streak back. Actually, you think about six games on the slump, he's made captain. Oh, suddenly we're back up there. He's got the experience, he's got the skill, and I hope he wants to stay. I think he's got the right attitude. His head's in the right place. He was his first game. I think it was against Newport County in the cup. He'd barely been in Teesside a few minutes, and he'd played half a game. and didn't. He got an assist, I think, and didn't.
After every national paper said he wouldn't be fit enough.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
We could do with a few more winners in our team, and John Obi Mikel is an absolute winner at the highest level, and you can just see it in the way he plays.
Well, look, fellas, we're going to go and have a short break very shortly, but we look at, obviously, Lewis Wing going back and got the goal. We'll have a chat about Britt, because that's another goal for Britt. Yes, it was a penalty, but I'm sure Ashley Fetcher's not very happy because he put the ball in the back of the net. But we'll come out and have a chat about that, and we'll finish that off. And then we've got, obviously, the Rotherham to look forward to, and a couple of rumours about the gaffer, a couple of rumours. I've never known it this early on in the season for the Boro to have transfer rumours. Bear in mind, we haven't even finished this one off yet, and we're talking about next season in transfer windows. So we've got that to look forward to, and then obviously a couple of predictions from yourselves. We've done our predictions. We might have been really, we might have got that right a few times, but we'll come at that in a minute. Join us after the break on RedArmyTV. You have your say, messages in, see what you've got to think about the Boro. We'll be chatting to the lads after this break. Hi there, welcome back to Red Army TV. You've got Ben and Leo on the sofa joining me tonight. Just before we crack on and finish a little bit about Reading on, I just want to speak about the Anthony Lee charity match. We had Anthony on a couple of weeks ago. He was a YTS player at the Boro, as we all know. You'll all know the score. They've got a charity game on for him at Billingham Town FC. Sunday the 12th of May, 3 p.m. kick-off. Billy Town FC and Northern League lads against the ex-pros. Admissions are £5. They've got bouncy castles and face paint, everything with the kids. Should be a cracking day. Get yourself down there and try and help Anth out down there. Fellas, just want to finish off the Reading game with obviously Britt's goal. Just before the break we were having a chat. Ben, obviously we got the penalty. Should the referee played that on no? I'm sure Britain would say no.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah, obviously the first thing Fletcher done, Leo, was pick the ball up, and there was nothing from him. He handed the ball straight to Britt.
Yeah.
Do you think he could have played that on, or do you think he's?
I think that's a good sign. I think that's a sign of a healthy relationship. If there's no one fighting over who's taking it, I think that's a good sign. I'd rather see that than them bicker before they take a penalty, in my opinion.
Were you guys as nervous as me when Britt put the ball down on the spot? Because I remember not so long ago when it hit a pie seller in about Roe's head.
Yeah, I wasn't nervous. I'd resigned to the fact that he was going to miss it. I was a complete pessimist. So to see it go in, I think was fantastic because, yeah, as you say, one thing a striker needs more than anything else is confidence. Yeah. And the fact he's done it under pressure can only be a good sign because he's not a player that gets a lot of delivery, that he needs to make those set pieces work.
To be honest, I don't think he's that short of confidence. Whenever I see him miss one, he's just smiling to himself anyway. So.
Yeah. I mean, just to finish it off, I mean, it's been a while since we've seen the Boro come back from a goal down, either at home or away. Yeah. So it was great for that, especially last game of the season as well, you know, and it kept our sort of hopes alive before the obviously midweek game we're going to speak about very shortly. That's Reading mopped up, fellas. Before the Reading game, a couple of weeks ago, the guys in the studio here, myself, Dave, Chris, Phil, Courtney, Paul, all of us done our predictions. And basically, for Sunday's predictions, we're going to speak about, but this is how we got on. So we all pulled our results in. We looked at the different games. We said we'd win at Stoke, so we got a big green tick for that. Forest, and unfortunately I was the one who said we would get beat at Forest. And let's be honest, we did.
We were well beat.
We fell apart, didn't we? Reading, we've gone for a home win, and I have to be honest with you, fellas here. I was the only one out the team who thought that we may go to Rotherham and just not get over the line. The rest of the guys think we've got enough to go down there and win. My heart, I hope we have. I want to go down there and smash them. Yeah. You know, bear in mind what's happened midweek. But that's what we're waiting on. We reckon we'd have 73 points. So our Sunday predictions, and I asked them just before we came into the studio, I said, these are the games what are going to happen on Sunday. What do we think is going to happen? And this is what we came up with. The guy said we were going to go down to Rotherham and win, other than me. They've got Derby's winning down at West Brom. Again, I got that down as a draw or a defeat. And they've got Bristol City beating Hull. What do you think about their predictions for Sunday, last game of the season, Leo?
I agree with them. I think it's it's out of our hands anyway. But I do think Derby will beat West Brom. I'd love to see Dwight Gale score a couple of goals and watch Frank Lampard cry in a seat. That would be brilliant. But at the same time, I do think they're just going to squeak over the line.
Ben, do you think Frank Lampard's Derby have got enough? Because they're not called Derby County now, they're the Frank Lampard's Derby.
Yeah.
So, do you think Derby have got enough to beat West Brom?
Yes, on paper. But if there's one thing about Derby we've learnt this season, it's inconsistency, not having a plan B, Frank being a bit out of his depth at times. But I do think they will actually probably pull it over the line. There's so much at stake. I think I think we'll lose and they'll win. Is what my brain's telling me.
I mean, with our predictions, that's what's left us there, and basically it just sort of leaves us with falling short. That's the predictions that the guys in the studio have had. I hope it doesn't happen, and I'm sure you're the same. Yeah. I'm a little bit different. I think Derby are very much like the Boro. I think they have a good 25 minutes. They did against Swansea midweek. They have a good 25 minutes and then they sit back and get battered. And that's how the Boro's season's gone majority this year. Derby are exactly the same. So if West Brom can get at them, you never know what's going to happen.
They've got a good team with West Brom. It's just I think Derby will just squeeze through. That's it.
The big thing for us fellas is, and you mentioned it straight away, Leo, that's all pie in the sky. The big thing for the Boro is we've got to beat Rotherham.
Yeah.
So we go down to Rotherham, the New York Stadium. They've got nothing to play for, Leo. Is that a team what's dangerous?
That's always a team that's dangerous, especially when they've been relegated, haven't they?
Yeah, they're finished. So they're down.
You've got players that are more dangerous because they're either playing for contracts or they're playing to get themselves out of that situation and stay in the Championship. They're going to be the worst. They look like they should be easy, but they're going to be the most difficult because they're going to be playing for themselves, and they're going to be really such a free team to do whatever they want because they've got nothing to do other than hamper us. And let's face it, if we were in their position, it's always fun when you've got nothing to play for, and you're like, we've got nothing to play for, but we still beat you when you've got something to play for.
Yeah, I mean, the other teams around us, Ben, obviously Derby County and Bristol City, they'll be thinking that it's a foregone conclusion that the Boro are going to go down there and beat Rotherham. However, it wasn't that the case up here, was it? No. I think we had something like 47 crosses into the box. I know Phil on the other show on a Monday night absolutely pulls his hair out about it, because we just couldn't convert and score, and they're probably the games what are going to come and bite us on the bum come the end of the season. So they'll think that we've got that, put to bed. The same question to you, is it dangerous going to visit a team like that?
Oh, absolutely. Any long-suffering Boro fan knows that we perform well against the teams around us, and the teams at the bottom of the table that we should beat, we usually don't. Yeah. The pressure will be on us, and it's whether we crumble or we don't. And the last game of the season at home, no matter where you are in the league, you want to do well. You want to give the fans something to cheer about, and that's what they'll be doing.
Well, I hope it absolutely goes against me, and I hope I eat humble pie, and I hope the Boro go down there and smash it. And like I say, we're in the hands of the gods for everything else, aren't we? Yeah. Couple of rumours, fellas, I want to speak about. It's really funny that we're talking this latter part of the season, and I'm talking about rumours what are in the press and on social media. The first one is Scott Sinclair, Leo. I don't know whether you've seen it.
Yeah.
There is rumours this evening, just before we came on air, that he's going to sign an extension to his contract, but that hasn't happened yet. But, I mean, I've read 2 articles on social media which are saying, like, he's one of Boro's top targets for next year, and they want to get him sealed down straight away. Is he the type of player you would like to see coming to the club?
I think anyone with a bit of attacking intent, really. I think one of our problems is I don't feel as though we've seen the best of our attack anyway. I feel the way we play, We've got Britt Sombalonga, who is a proven goal scorer in this division. We've got Ashley Fletcher, who's come into the team and looked like a world beater at times. But just behind them, there's nothing really for them to feed off or do anything with. So Scott Sinclair for me is a great addition to the team. Whether or not it happens is another story.
Yeah.
And the fact that we're talking so early about transfer stories is kind of interesting, because for this season we've been talking however long we've been given, like the first transfer window it was we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do the other, and instead we lost Ben, we lost Adama, we lost Bamford. And then you go to January and you go, okay, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do the other. And instead, what have we done? We've done nothing. So actually, it's about time we got the checkbook out, blew off some dust of it and started doing some deals, because I think the fans are getting slightly fed up with watching a transfer window just whiz by as if it's not even happened.
Believe me, mate, I sat here on a transfer deadline day. Dave had me all over the world looking for transfers and they just didn't come at all. They didn't even give me my petrol money. Ben, if someone like Scott Sinclair was to come in, would a Sombalonga have to go? Fletcher may have to go. We know Ugel's going to go back anyway, but would one of them go, or do you think it'd just be an addition?
I hope it would just be an addition. I think the more attacking players we have on our books, the better, especially ones that can score and move forward. Although what I would say is we've dipped our toe in that league before and it didn't work out too well, so I would think about doing that with an ear of caution.
Yeah, the people out there know I still have nightmares about the Strachan years. Fellas, we're nearly out of time. I've got two predictions for you. Lee, I'll start with you. Boro against Rotherham? Prediction?
Win. Boro 2-0.
Boro 2-0?
Oh, I'm going to go with Rotherham 2-1. That's what my head's telling me. My heart says not, but...
Will Pulis stay, yes or no?
Yes
or no?
Yes.
Yes or no?
No, hope not.
Join us next week on Red Army TV when hopefully the Boro have done it.